Live from the ONN News Center in Ohio's capital city. Ohio issues, Ohio voices, Ohio people. Now, Ohio's talking on the Ohio News Network.
Scantily clad women, each showing a good deal of skin, and all sporting athletic wear featuring the likeness of the Ohio State University. Like Miss November, ready for kickoff in front of the horseshoe, clad in a football uniform. But these calendar pinup models never made it to a wall near you. Instead, they ended up here, shredded and ready to be recycled. But now the calendar is back. Good evening, I'm Marjorie Vincent, and tonight Ohio's talking about the second edition of this controversial calendar. The original edition of Scarlet and Gray Girls was destroyed back in August when OSU lawyers filed a federal lawsuit. Were the photos too provocative for the hierarchy of higher education? No, just the use of the OSU colors and logo are registered trademarks, and the publisher did not have a license to use the Scarlet and Gray. Reporter Marcy Fleischer explains.
Take a good look at these pictures because they aren't coming to a store near you. OSU bosses weren't thrilled with the scantily dressed students in the Scarlet and Gray Girls Calendar. But the bigger issue was the publisher's use of Ohio State trademarks. Many of the models were dressed in licensed OSU clothing, and they posed in front of campus buildings. Yet calendar publisher Sean Ashbrook didn't get permission to do so.
When he was getting props from the athletic department, he thought he could just use them. But they're licensed props. He didn't have a license, and so this is about licensing. And licensing is a big business for Ohio State. The university rakes in close to $3 million a year in trademark and licensing revenues. To use the block O or the word Buckeye on your product, you need OSU's okay, and you have to pay for it. By going after the calendar, OSU is making it clear their trademarks are something they'll protect.
They certainly view their trademarks as valuable properties of Ohio State and the residents of the state of Ohio, and they don't want people to be misled or buy products that aren't licensed by them.
Marcy Fleischer bringing us that story, but the legal battle in August did not stop the publisher. Just this week, a new edition of that calendar came out, and this time without any trademark infringements. Tonight we have the new calendar and a group assembled here who will be ready to share their opinions on this sequel calendar with us. First of all, joining us in our studio tonight, Alec Shankman, the calendar producer. Alec is an employee of Calendar Models of America, the calendar's maker. He's also a student, a sophomore at OSU. Joining us next is Miss May Cherie Butal. She is a 21-year-old, and Cherie is one of the pinup models featured in that new calendar. She someday hopes to make a career of being a fitness model and pose in nationwide magazines. Plus, what do women's rights advocates think of the skin calendar? Amy Friedrich, the co-president of the OSU Association of Women Students, joins us. A junior majoring in women's studies and history at the Ohio State University, Amy is proud to be a feminist. And another proud feminist, Mary Beth Burnham, is a women's studies major and also co-president of the Association of Women Students. Mary Beth has aspirations to attend law school and then practice civil rights law. Now you too, you can have a question or comment on this show tonight, or even an opinion. You can give us a call anywhere in Ohio. Our toll-free line up and running as always. All you have to do is dial 1-888-OH-TALKS, 1-888-OH-TALKS, and in the capital city, that phone number is 280-6330, 280-6330. Well, Alec, let me start with you first of all. For people who are not familiar with this calendar, how did it get its start?
Basically, in 1990, the publisher, Sean Ashbrook, decided it would be a good idea. Students wanted to do it, and he figured, why not? So they went ahead and made the calendar. It's been going strong for the past decade, and then basically up till this year where they decided to make an issue. But it's just been a project, fun project. It's been going on for almost 10 years.
Now, being a sophomore, I'm not sure if you'll know the answer to this, but had you or the calendar's original producer and founder ever had any problems with OSU before until this August?
No, nothing significant at all. There was always an issue that it might agitate them, but they really never spoke up before. It was just this year, for some reason, it became an issue. So
has it always been a calendar that featured women clad in the way they are or attired in the way they are, or did it have a different beginning?
It's actually started off, there's been some issues that have been a little more risque, others have been a little more toned down, but for the most part it's been the same idea. It's always featured Ohio State students. There's usually, they try to put a theme in there, just basically an Ohio State themed calendar with the girls in it, and the guys calendar, which has been out just as long. It's always been Ohio State guys, and they're all pretty much just similar to this year's.
Now, Cherie, you posed in this calendar. You were Miss May featured in there. What did your friends think about when they found out you were going to be in this calendar?
My friends absolutely loved it. They were excited for me because, I mean, this was a great opportunity, I thought, and I was thrilled when I found out I was going to be in it.
What exactly did you have to go through to be a finalist for this calendar?
Well, I was actually walking to class one day, and Sean approached me and gave me some information about the calendar, and basically he gave us the option if we wanted to call in, and I called him. We went through a screening process. We took a lot of photos, went through a pretty big to-do, and got selected from there. We got called, and they asked us if we would like to be on it.
A lot of people may look at this calendar, and obviously the women aren't wearing too much. I mean, some attire is obviously
we were
what
aware
people
of that at the
wear on
time.
the beach. But did you ever feel uncomfortable at any point during this calendar?
No, I didn't feel uncomfortable at all. Actually, Sean made me feel, really comfortable about the whole thing. I got to pick my own outfit, and I actually picked the pose I did. I think, all the girls, I know that all the girls picked their outfits, and none of them expressed to me being uncomfortable about anything.
Mary Beth,
he's very easy to work with.
Mary Beth, you're with the Women's Studies group. We talked a little bit earlier before the show, and you actually, surprisingly, I think a lot of people out there who call themselves feminists will think that your position is a little bit different than what most people would expect.
Well, I think that people have the wrong idea of what feminism really is. It's more like feminisms. It's just like with any other issue. There's always different sides to it. There's also, you have radical feminism that stemmed from way back in the day, 70s or I don't know, way back. And then you've got liberal feminism. And radical feminism would say that that's objectification of women because they're showing their bodies, and because of male patriarchy and male domination over women, they have no agency in letting them show their bodies because that's how men have made them think that they need to be, that they need to show everything, that they need to pose in these pictures. When a liberal feminist or a feminist of a different ideology might say that that is her agency. If she wants to show her body, that's her stuff. She can do what she wants with that. And that's reclaiming your power and taking that back from what men and just society in general has done. I mean, it's not all men, but it's just the institution of patriarchy and just the institution of power and control. So by, letting women have their sexual freedom, and if it includes taking off their clothes or being a prostitute or doing what they need to do, that's their body, that's their right.
Well, let me ask, anybody can jump in and answer this, but a lot of people will look at this and say this is just another opportunity to objectify women as objects versus being human beings who are intelligent, have goals and ambitions, who are mothers and daughters and whatnot, and we're really enforcing something or promoting something that shouldn't be promoted in the society. And women are so much today, I don't know if you'll agree, judged on their appearance. So isn't this a bad idea in that respect?
In some of the ways, it's the way that you look at the pictures. I mean, if you're looking at the pictures as simply an object and this is a sexual being, then yes, I mean, there can be problems that go along in society and it perpetuates itself in that. But going back to what Mary said about having agency and being able to use your body however you want, that's also something that we've struggled for. I mean, there were times when women weren't, there are places in this world where women are not allowed to show their skin, and that's just as bad for women as showing as much of their skin as they want.
Well, Alec, do you think when this controversy came up with OSU back in August that it was more of the fact that the women were dressed the way they were, which was the problem with OSU, or do you really think that the infringement of their trademark was the main problem?
I think they felt threatened that there was OSU affiliated products and backgrounds, and they felt that we were exploiting their name and making money off of it. I don't know, personally I think they're OSU students, we're saying they're OSU students, and they may as well be shot on the background and in poses or around items that associated with the school. And I mean, it's not an OSU product, but the girls, everyone, I mean, it's Ohio State students, so they may as well be featured doing what they do, being Ohio State students. So I think they just felt threatened that we were going to make money off of their name, and they just decided that they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to let us get away with it, and they just made a big deal about it.
Let me ask you, if you were the university president and you saw this calendar was coming out, and you're the university president of Ohio State University, which has a certain reputation not only in Ohio but throughout the country for that fact, is that what you would like to have out there to represent your university? Because basically all the students who are in there are OSU students, and
right.
When you have the OSU logo there, you're basically linking these young women and the calendar with the university.
But you know what? There are no U.S. Ohio State logos on there.
But in the first calendar, which caused the controversy back in August, there were, I understand,
there were not
some
Ohio
items,
State
Ohio
logos
State
on
items
there.
used.
They were not Ohio State
yeah,
logos.
their
though.
problems. Scarlet and Gray, which was the title of the original calendar. Basically, I mean, it's your typical Ohio University versus Ohio State, where they try to trademark the name Ohio. It's just a battle where they claim Scarlet and Gray is theirs. That was one issue. The backgrounds, I mean, the Schottenstein Center was the background. They claim, you know, that can only be used in a background. I think that was a problem for them. I really don't know why, but the buildings, I mean, that was a big issue for them. There was a jacket that said Ohio. I mean, nothing said Ohio State, nothing. There was a thing, people made an issue over, there was a ribbon that said Go Books, but I don't know, it looked like Go Bucks, I guess. And it was little things that we really did not use Ohio State logos or anything that it wasn't anything that we should not have done.
Now these pictures that we just saw, were those from the original calendar that came out back in August? Or
Yes, those are the original. The new calendar, there's really nothing Ohio State back on. We just, you know, we don't want them to be upset. It's a project, it's a good time. The girls like doing it. We don't want it to be an issue, so we took away everything that bothered them, and hopefully this will work out just as well.
I mean, Sean went to a lot of pains to make sure that he didn't use anything that was Ohio State. I mean, he even airbrushed some stuff out to make sure. I mean, I don't know why they made such a big issue out of it. I don't understand how you can trademark colors like that.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. He's been doing this for what, 10 years, and you know, why all of a sudden is it a problem now? You know, I don't understand. I mean, I'm an Ohio State student. I should be able to be represented in front of the buildings that I've been going to for the past, 3-4 years. I mean, I don't see how that's an issue. I mean, why didn't they say something to him about it before? I mean, why did they let him go ahead and print it and lose money? That's, that really threatened the models, and, that, I don't know. I don't think that's right.
Right. We're going to take a quick break right now, but when we come back, I want to touch more on this new feminism, quote unquote, that you do call it. We're also going to talk about whether this calendar really objectifies women and explore that a little bit further. So again, we're talking about the OSU calendar here in the Columbus. If you'd like to comment on this issue, you can call us at 1-888-OH-TALKS. Again, that phone number is 1-888-OH-TALKS, or if you're in Columbus, you can dial 280-6330, 280-6330. We'll be right back with much more. Welcome back to Ohio's Talking, everybody. If you're just joining us, we are talking about the OSU Women's Calendar, which came out back in August. And if you may remember, it caused quite a bit of controversy. OSU had the makers of that calendar destroy the original calendars, and they have come out with a new calendar, which is this calendar right here. And you also have a men's calendar. We're going to get to that in just a minute and talk about that. But first of all, I want to talk about this new feminism, Mary Beth, that you mentioned, and how that has really changed from what I grew up thinking of as feminism. I mean, how can the two views that you mentioned really be balanced in that way?
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily. I think my opinion on it and my theory on it is that everybody's on the same side. They just don't realize it. Because everybody wants women to be equal. Everybody wants women to have agency. Everybody wants women to be happy if they're a good person. And theoretically, we all want that. So we're basically all on the same side. It's just that people see it from different points of view. Like back in the 70s, probably, I don't know what your age is, but I mean, it's probably like the time that you heard about feminism. And there was a big divide in feminism between the anti-pornography movement and the pro-pornography movement. And the anti-pornography movement would call this objectification. They would call this just a terrible thing, and college campuses are supposed to be for education, not supposed to be for objectification or anything. But the pro-pornography movement would say that no, this is women taking back their agency, this is women taking back what's theirs, and using their bodies for whatever they would like to use their bodies for, because it's their agency, it's their right, as
But you know what the problem is, I think a lot of women, people are going to say is, I mean, you look at this calendar, and I mean, the pictures are beautiful, but a lot of people are going to say, men are going to look at this and they're not going to wonder whether this is somebody who's intelligent, what her career ambitions are, or what kind of personality she has. They're going to look at this and see bodies. I mean, is that what we want people to continue thinking of women as?
Right, and I think that, within our society as it is right now, women's bodies are, to use their bodies to make money. It's a very lucrative business. That's how many women get by. I mean, there are a lot of women who are in college, and that's how they get to pay for college, is by using their bodies, whether it's in photographs or in strip clubs or whatever it might be. And, it's unfortunate that for some women, this is the only avenue that they can take to make a decent amount of money, you know, due to, you know, the gap in the salaries and the problems with sexism that still exists in our country today. But still, those women, like the women who are making a choice to do this, not women who feel that this is their only avenue, women who are making a choice, that's their right. And, you know, in no way am I going to say, no, you should not be able to use your body for what you want. It's your body. You use it as you want. And, you know, I mean, that's what we're talking about. And in society, yeah, it's a problem that women are looked at in an objectified manner, that in a one-dimensional manner, that it is just their bodies. And so somehow we will have to continue on our path of feminism and combine the two in our bodies are also connected to our minds and what, you know, what we are, you know, as the people and what we are as women.
And like I see you nodding your head. Okay, so how do we go about it? It seems like the bigger issue here from what you're saying is getting people's attitudes to change. So how do we go about doing that?
Well, realistically, I think, I mean, in the calendar, next to each person, they have a short little biography. They have their college majors. I mean, it's a college product, so obviously we know that all the girls go to school. I mean, these aren't girls off the street that are doing this.
Exactly.
I mean, it's college girl. They're not allowed in the calendar unless they're a student.
But let me ask you this: in all honesty, though, when you chose the 12 girls to be in this calendar, did you look beyond their physical appearance and consider everything else?
Well, for purposes of the calendar, I mean, you find aesthetically appealing. The human body is a beautiful thing, and we found girls that would, you know, guys would appreciate. I mean, I'm not saying that these girls aren't in here. Just it's not a sex thing. It's just girls who would like to do it. I don't know. I just think
we were also interviewed. I mean, it wasn't like they just stuck anyone out there. A lot of girls tried out for this. We were interviewed, you know, to make sure we, you know, weren't just taking some silly major in art or something. I mean, I think they looked a lot past the looks.
It was very important.
I mean, they looked at personality, you know, I mean, but the whole point of a calendar, I mean, obviously, is to have a pretty girl on there. I mean,
shaking your head.
You know.
Well, I don't like the art major to be demeaned. Like, I don't think it's silly. I think that any major is worthwhile if somebody's at college to do it.
No, I don't mean. I didn't mean it like that.
You know, I don't know. I don't want to be associated with that. But like she said, she has agency. You know, she wanted to do this, and regardless of what kind of women he chooses to do and make his calendar, it's his calendar. It's these women say they'll do this calendar. I mean, I personally would like to see more people of color. I'd like to see more body types. You know, that would be, quote unquote, your feminist, you know, your politically correct campus girls calendar. But you're right, this is what sells. This is what guys are going to buy, and maybe it's those guys that are buying it, but you know, it's a market. I mean, what are they doing about, you know, the logo? It's all business. It's all economics.
You know, she brings up a good point. I mean, we talk about you know, women being well represented in the society and going beyond. I mean, these women, I mean, obviously they're in great health, but is this really representative of all the women who are on the campus of OSU? And if we're going to change attitudes, why not include women who aren't physically perfect or who aren't drop dead gorgeous?
Well, I mean, when it comes down to it,
why not take that first stand and try to change people's perceptions?
I mean, we're not a company trying to take on the world. We found a product that girls enjoy doing. We enjoy working with the girls, and people enjoy this product. I don't want to. I mean, there's no reason for us to go out and make a product that is not going to sell. And I'm not saying that it wouldn't, but we've never done that before, and it just wasn't. We didn't say this year we want to take a major risk. This has been going on for 10 years. It's a product that sells. Everyone has fun doing it. We figured, you know, this was the last year we're going to do it. We didn't want to change things.
And I think in that, like that, therein lies one of the larger problems that we deal with. Like as a feminist, you deal with that changing what the body image, what the acceptable body image for women is. We have so many problems with young girls and with college students. I mean, these women, they have a you know, a trim physique. They may not be healthy. I mean, you don't know that from looking. They could be going through a lot of pain to look in this manner because that is what sells, because that is what the ideal woman is. Whereas most women, I mean, if you look around campus, not all the women look like this, you know. So that's one of the things that I would say that I would see as a problem, not necessarily with the calendar, but with the ideas today of, you know, having women have this physique that just most women aren't born with, and most women would never even get to, no matter what pains they went through to get there. And so changing society's view on what a beautiful woman is and what a beautiful calendar girl is, that's another issue that, you know, we would want to deal with for in society. You know.
Well, Cherie, do you think this is an item that the Ohio State University should be proud of?
I would say so. I mean, I don't see the girls on there, you know, starving themselves to get, you know, to get trimmed down to get on this calendar. I mean, myself, I mean, I'm really highly involved in fitness and nutrition. I work out, you know, 5-6 times a week, and you know, I would never starve myself to, you know, to get to this acceptable image that a lot of guys like. But I would think Ohio State should be proud of it. I mean, these are the girls that go to their school. You know?
Do you think these girls make good role models for young girls today?
I don't see why not. I mean, if you read their descriptions on there, you'll see a lot of them, how many activities they're involved in, what they like, you know, what they've done throughout their life, and what they enjoy, you know. I mean, I don't understand what there would be to be ashamed about. I mean, they're beautiful. Every single girl is beautiful in the calendar. I don't understand why Ohio State would not be proud of anything less than proud of it.
So you think people need to look beyond this?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of other calendars out there, you know, and I think it's wrong that they, you know, took Sean's calendar aside and did this to him. You know, I mean, you could look at a lot of magazines and see a lot of really thin girls, and no, I don't agree that being waif skinny is not healthy. I don't agree with that at all. I mean, I agree with what she's saying, and that no, I don't think a healthy image is always going to be a thin image. It's not. You know, that's how I feel.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break right now, but you can please stay with us. We'll continue this conversation after this break. Again, if you'd like to make a comment or ask a question on Ohio's Talking this night, all you have to do is call our toll-free number, which is 1-888-OH-TALKS, 1-888-OH-TALKS, or you can call 280-6330. Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about the OSU calendar. This is actually the second edition of the calendar. The first edition caused quite a bit of controversy at the Ohio State University. Alex Shankman is the associate producer of that calendar. Alec, you mentioned earlier tonight that this is the last year for the calendar. Why?
Well, I think there's two main reasons. The first one is that this calendar, the executive producer, this is a very important thing for him. He's put a lot of time in it over the years, and this is one of his favorite things to do. When they came down on him this year and they tore him apart, he spent a year getting this thing together, and they told him that he had to destroy the entire project. I mean, 1 year of your life, and you have to destroy everything you've done. That'll get to you. And he decided basically next year when he goes around, I mean, who knows? They could take the new one that has nothing to do with Ohio State logos and find something. They're a huge entity, and they can attack him in any way. I mean, even just using Ohio State students, they might take that. And other people, if he goes up to girls, they might be afraid to do it just because of lawsuits, and that could be a problem. And two, he's also a student of Ohio State, and he's going to be graduating very shortly and getting on with his life, and he may very well not be at Ohio State next year, so he wasn't able to commit to it. But I think the main reason is that they tore apart a very important part of his life, and it's just not something that he's willing to endure next year as well.
Okay, we have a caller on the phone, Teresa from Columbus. Teresa, what's your question or your comment tonight?
Well, I just wanted to know what the male calendar looked like, and also what people on the panel thought of the differences between a male and a female calendar.
Okay, we forgot about the male calendar. We meant to mention that. We'll try to get a close-up of it there for you, but we were thumbing through earlier, and I think it was Amy that mentioned that the men are more revealing than the women are in the women's calendar.
The men's calendar is a great deal more risque than than the girls' calendar.
Now, why is that? And why is that difference, as the caller questioned tonight?
I think these guys, again, in every picture, you're consulted and you decide how you want to pose, what you want to pose in, what image you want to portray, and for weeks you work on deciding what you want to do. The guys, it was their decision to be a little more revealing. I don't know if it was a self-conscious issue. I'm really not exactly sure what their motives were, but they were just very comfortable doing this, and that was their decision.
Okay, if you can, go ahead and hold that up again. Now, for people who are curious out there, where do you guys market this calendar? Where do you sell it at?
All of the models, they can be obtained through the models, as well as Long's bookstore. They're sold in bookstores statewide.
Okay, go ahead and hold that up again real quickly, Alex.
They're sold in bookstores statewide, and then at the website www.campusmen.com, you can purchase both calendars.
Okay. Now, Mary Beth, we were talking during the break, and you mentioned that you felt this calendar was actually a breakthrough. In what way?
Well, like she said, she was asked, she was approached, and like a long time ago, pornography and everything else was like against women's will, and like you had peeping toms and all that whole sort of thing. Like, I don't know when that happened, but like probably way back in the bad days, I don't know. But this is like a good breakthrough. he said he went to these women, he asked them, he said about the men too, that he let them choose their poses, he let them do what they felt comfortable with, went over their proofs, what they didn't want to portray wasn't shown. That's a breakthrough in itself. Regardless of whether or not what type of women he's picking, they're given their agency, and this is what they want to do. This is something fun for them. So in a way, it is a breakthrough, because you're giving back that agency that's been taken away from us for so long that it's just ridiculous. So I think it's a real big breakthrough, especially with this. I'm sure that people in Playboy probably get manipulated a lot just because it's Playboy and it's like this big, huge sort of thing. And I'm sure we've got a witness here that says she was not manipulated anyway. So that's really good. And hopefully someday can say that about Playboy.
We are unfortunately out of time. Thank you to all our guests for joining us tonight, and good luck with your futures, all of you who are still in college, and enjoy the weekend.
Thanks.
Thank you.